Hey, it's Jeremy with Grow Home Care Marketing, and I'm so excited to have Kurt here again with us to share with our group how he was able to grow his home care agency to a huge amount of billable hours and not have any W-2 employees. So, really interesting way that he did that. And I'm not saying that you should do that. I think that uh, if you're struggling to get started, it's obviously I don't know what you think, Kurt, but I feel like it would be an easy way to kind of kick things off,
Yes.
and that some people could do your approach, some people could do a combo method. But why don't you just kind of jump in and tell us a little bit about yourself again, in case this is the first time somebody is watching this webinar and they don't know who you are, what you do with everybody.
Okay. Yeah, again, my name is Kurt Galley. I have a home care agency. I've had it since I started back in 2001. I'm in the Chicago market, which is a very highly, I guess everybody could say every market's competitive, but we have, close to 500 agencies that we compete with. And I didn't know that number until a franchise owner told me that. So I didn't realize that there was that much competition. But I was actually a home care physical therapist initially. That's how I got involved into providing non-medical skilled services. I was in the home, was meeting these caregivers, kind of created my own list of caregivers because they always gave me their name and number when I was with the patient, treating the patient, and the patient was getting better and they weren't going to need any help from a caregiver anymore. So the caregiver's like, oh, I need to find my next client. Or it was a hospice situation, or they were going to be going on to hospice. And again, the caregiver would escort me to the door and give me their name and number. So I had to tell my wife who all these, primarily it was girls' names, who all these names, slips of paper, and who are all these women that you have these numbers for? I'm like, well, these are caregivers that they, and at the time I would just, a patient would ask me, hey, do you know somebody that could help my mom? I'm like, hey, I just met Sally last week. Here's her number. And at that time, it wasn't a business for me, but I was making the connection. I was the matchmaker, and, they trusted my judgment as far as how Sally was. Cause I could say, hey, you know what? I've known Sally for the last 6 weeks with her patient and they love her, just, why don't you just give her a call? Because I know it's ending her client is going to be ending for whatever reason. So, but then it was a caregiver that said, hey, I think you should do this as a business. So in 2001 is when I started actually as a business, where now I was needing to or wanting to grow something of my own, because my big goal was to get out of being a therapist, because I didn't like all the Medicare and Medicaid paperwork that was involved with me being a therapist.
Yeah.
So that's how I got my start. Which actually kind of tells you exactly what my model is there, even just that, because it was a caregiver that said, the key phrase is, she said, you should start this business and I will help you find the caregivers.
Huh.
And I thought that was I was like, ooh, she's making it even easier for me, or simple,
Yeah.
Wait a second here. I don't have to call the caregivers or try to find the workers. You're going to do it for me. She said, yeah, I've got a lot of friends
Wow.
okay, that are also doing caregiving. And I actually met a couple different caregivers that said the same thing to me and said, hey, yeah, no, I have friends that are caregivers. I can refer them to you if you've got a client that they could help.
Huh. So in our last webinar that we did, you also, so if you missed it, go back and watch that. Okay. It should be in our group. You could go back and it will be one of the older posts that we shot with Kurt. And in our last video, you talked about the strategy for lumpy mail or bulk mail, or what did you call it?
Lumpy mail or 3D mail.
3D mail. Okay. And how you sent out 10 letters or 10 3D mail, lumpy mail, and you got 3 responses back. And then, so he kind of goes over the strategy. He also has a resource in there. You can go sign up for free to learn more about how to do that. So you don't want to miss that. That was in our last video. In this video, you know, something that me and him talked about was how he grew his home care agency without hiring caregivers, that he actually was able to grow it by, I'll just let you pick up from there. And I just thought it was such an interesting thing, because normally the calls that I'm on with home care agencies, and by the way, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jeremy, and I'm the managing director of Grow Home Care Marketing. What we do is we provide digital marketing, SEO, search engine optimization, to rank you higher on Google, custom high-end websites to get those customers from Google onto your website, and then convert them into a lead, into a phone call, or some kind of email submission going into a lead pipeline system. We also do high-end Google ad management to get a lot of conversions from Google ads. So that's what we do, if you don't know who I am and what we do. But you know, I'll just let you kind of pick up from here, Kurt, on how you were able to grow. Because again, to come back to what I was saying real quick, most of the phone calls that I get on with our clients, they're trying to fill in the gap and find caregivers. And I think that's a big issue in today's time, you know, finding caregivers. So I think maybe even having a combo strategy of hiring your own and then maybe doing what you do. So I'll just let you share with the audience how this is your whole agency. You don't even have any that you've hired directly. So I think that you can have a lot to share with people.
Yeah. Okay. So that caregiver, her name was Victoria. And so she was actually a caregiver, and then she met an American guy and got married to him, he was in pool sales. Okay. And, you know, once her patient passed, then she tried to go to be a CNA at a facility, and she's like, oh no, I don't do that. But at the same time, I was having small success because I was working full time as a therapist. So I didn't have time to try to make phone calls or try to find caregivers. So I would just call her, and then she would call to her network or text, or actually, do we have text messaging back then? I don't even remember. But
2001, we should.
I think we did. It's kind of, you know, so she would call her friends and who she knew that was a caregiver, and then provide that caregiver for me and give me the history and things like that. So that when she didn't like working in a nursing home, so then her and her husband decided, hey, you know what, let's start our own agency. We'll be the staffing company for Kurt's clients and keep that relationship, you know, that's our relationship. So I have a staffing agreement with them, and I go out and get the client meets me. I'm the one that actually has the contract with the client and actually invoices the client. But then behind the curtain per se, now they're not really behind the curtain, because in my agreement, I actually say that Safe at Home Healthcare does not employ any of these caregivers. They are subcontracted through other licensed providers. So I'm very upfront as far as that. Most don't even ask me about that. All they care about is that their parents being taken care of, you know,
and that somebody's there. Right. I think that's kind of the main thing is that, and can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. I think that's kind of the main thing with a lot of these clients is, like you said, they want to know that somebody's there for their mom or dad. I don't think that they care that much, you know, if it's Scooby-Doo taking care of mom and dad. As long as Scooby-Doo can take care of mom and dad, he shows up on time and he's getting the stuff that he needs to get done, right? He's there and he can do it. So, you know, where they're coming from or how, I don't think that's that big of the equation, you know? Right.
Well, just as long as they're qualified and they've had their training and things like that. You know, I mean, that's most states have their, I mean, Illinois, we do have a license, and we've got the caregivers have to go through continuing ed and all that stuff. So, but the leverage for me in that situation is they do all that. I don't do any of that stuff. My role is customer acquisition and customer service. Okay. So, and actually they like me doing that on that part, Because actually a lot of the caregivers out there are not from born and raised in the U.S. They're from Nigeria, the Philippines, or Ukraine or Russia, things like that. So they actually, I consider her my business partner, Victoria. She's Filipino. She likes the fact that I'm the one talking with the client. She'll talk to the caregivers because, they're of the same dialogue and things like that. So, but yeah, that's our arrangement, is that, she does all that stuff on the back end, which helps it run. It's actually a really great, smooth running machine, kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think it allows, you to really focus on building and driving revenue and the things that build that. And she's okay on her end because she's getting paid too, but she doesn't have to worry about driving revenue and getting new clients. She wants you to get really good at that. And she's just going to get really good at maintaining and keeping the quality high so you keep those clients.
Correct. And so it's a great setup. So somebody like me, I needed the staff. She already knew people.
Now let me ask you this. You probably knew that you could hire your own caregivers. I did. What was it? What was your mindset there? Was it just, okay, this is available, so I'm going to try this and do this? Or was it, I don't want to hire my own caregivers. This is the direction that I want to do.
Well, no, I did. I shared in our previous video, Jeremy, that I was in network marketing, or MLM. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing behind that is you don't have employees, you don't have, payroll, all that kind of stuff, So I was of the mindset, how can I leverage myself? Yeah. I want to leverage myself. And so I did have that from the get-go. Now she just added that piece and made me realize it, make the connection in my brain. Like, wait a second here. I've got A and she's got B. Let's connect these and we're good. Right. Kind of thing. So, but I didn't want to have employee headaches. Now, granted, I'm involved in the care plan and I do deal with caregivers to make sure it's a good fit and all that. And I deal with the situations, maybe a son or daughter's calling and saying, hey, this caregiver's doing that. But then I call her and then she's able to discuss it with the caregiver, because technically that's her employee, right? So, but it works really good. So if you're an agency out there that, you don't have the staff, why not contact some agencies and work collaboratively with them, because that'll help you to get started. And you might like it so much, you're like, I don't want to have my own caregivers. Right. Or let's say you're the new startup agency that you have the workers, you're a CNA and you know a lot of friends that are CNAs that wanted to get into home care, and you have the workers and you're like, how am I going to start? How do I get clients? Maybe you go the Victoria route. So it works both ways. So pick, I'm pretty sure a lot of agencies on this, listening to this or watching this are on one or the other. Right. They might be really good at policies, procedures, knowing a lot of people that they could hire. Right. Yeah. But maybe really not that good at accounting and business management and licensing and all this kind of stuff that just bogs them down there, or going and getting clients. They don't understand marketing. They just don't get it. Right. So they could pick if they wanted to do that, and they could still own their own business where they do both, right? Mm-hmm. And then this is a third option, just throwing out ideas and strategies. They could have people that they hired themselves do all the marketing, do the sales as well. But let's say they're short on caregivers. There's opportunities where there's other home care agencies that have more than enough caregivers, right? Mm-hmm. And you might say, well, in this day and age, who does that? There's some out there that they need to keep their caregivers busy because they don't want to lose their caregivers to lack of work. So you could have that in place, because there might be some agencies out there that go on a hiring spree. Maybe they hire a little too many, or maybe some people die, or they go to an assisted living facility where they don't provide care, or whatever the case may be. And they need to keep those caregivers busy. So you had mentioned as well that you have other relationships besides Victoria,
like, what did you say, 8 or something like that?
7. Yep.
Okay. So do you want to talk about that at all, or?
Well, yeah. So that was working so well, and then actually I got approached by other agencies that they kind of like, hey, we can help provide staff to different areas of Chicago. So my model allowed me to, most home care agencies are just in your local market, which is just your city or maybe a few suburbs around, where you can't expand 50 miles away or 30 miles away.
Right.
But I had other agencies approach me and say, hey, we'd like to be a part of what you got going on, because they see that I'm providing the customer service and the client acquisition end of things, which they needed help with.
Right.
Because a lot of home care agency owners, they're I was a therapist. A lot of them are started by nurses. You really don't have any marketing experience at all, and don't know how to get a client other than sharing with your colleagues and things like that. So they reached out to me. So then I was able to establish other relationships. My primary source of I'm still mainly, my main service area is where Victoria and I service, but I do get calls for Evanston, which is North Shore Chicago, Southwest Chicago. But then I'm able to reach out to them because they have the caregivers in the area. Because ideally, you want a caregiver that lives close to that client.
And I'll just touch on that, not to toot my own horn, but some people may be watching this and, well, who's Jeremy? Who am I? So again, we do digital marketing, right? So this week our client success manager was looking at one of our clients out of Chicago, and 46% of the calls that came in were booked appointments, leads that were booked home care assessments. So, and that was, I think, out of like 50 calls or something. So that's quite a bit of leads that came in from Google, right? And like you're saying, some of these home care agencies don't understand SEO. They don't understand direct mail, which is what you talked about in the last video, how they can do direct mail. They don't understand marketing, right? And so they might understand hiring and getting caregivers. So this is a good opportunity for all those people that have more clients, but they don't have the caregivers, to partner up with those agencies that have, those employees that are just sitting there dying. I think we all know that if you hire an employee and they're not doing anything, they're dying, right? You need to get them busy, because they don't want to just sit there and not work. They need the money, they need the hours, right? So this is a good opportunity. Let's say you're ranking on Google, right, from working with us, or we're, listening to your strategy about lumping mail, and you're getting more clients. Well, go create relationships with other agencies that have employees that they need to put to work. And so I think that's the basic strategy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because one of the things that I noticed with other agencies is they advertise on an Indeed or the employee-based websites, and one of the things when somebody asked me, I actually can say for 20 years of doing this business, I have never placed an ad for a worker.
Wow. That's kind of unheard of.
Yeah, it is. It sure is.
It's just a different way of doing business. That's why I was like so intrigued when you started telling me about it.
Because the big benefit is I'm tapping into somebody else's database that also has experience with them, that knows them, has references. I'm not just getting somebody showing up to the office that I don't know. They just show up with a resume, which you don't know if that resume is truthful. So I'm tapping into other agencies, which they love it, because
they've done all that.
We share in the profits,
Right. They've done all that onboarding, the background checks, blah, blah, blah. Right.
Because, somebody like Victoria, I bring in her millions of dollars a year,
Yeah.
But because I'm out there, she actually just considers me kind of like an outside salesperson, but yeah, so it's been a good relationship for all this time, and it's worked out. But again, you might be the Victoria out there that has the staff. That would be a good time to reach out to other agencies, and because especially if you have staff, you are gold to any agency across the U.S.
Yeah.
So I would definitely reach out, and I've talked to some agencies that were like, again, we've got the staff, but I don't know how to get a client. Oh, well, great. Here's how you get a client. You call other agencies and tell them you've got the staff.
Right. Yeah. I think that's such a mind opening thing. And that's why I wanted to share it with everybody, is that, this is an option. I mean, even if they're doing both, they can still go hire other companies and outsource employees from them. And a lot of people that have been in business for a long time know this, right? But a lot of the new startup businesses don't even know that you can operate this way. They think you have to go place the ads, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're watching this, that hopefully your jaw's probably dropped.
Yeah.
So anyway, is there anything else you want to share? I know that people can go to your website and learn more about your direct mail marketing. And by the way, you can also go to our website, Grow Home Care Marketing, to find out more about how you can rank on Google and get your website up to date with, the new up-to-date standards for Google, what Google's looking for. But how can people get in touch with you, Kurt? If they want to ask more questions, will you be in this group, our Home Care Marketing Masters group, to answer questions if people have them?
Yeah, I just gotta pay more attention to to the group and the questions. But
so they need to tag you, right? They need to tag Kurt.
Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to add to that too is I do have agreements in place with all the agencies that I work with. So I hired an attorney to help put a staffing agreement in place, but it, so that it works for both of us. So it's not, I just wanted to let everybody know, it's not just a handshake that, hey, you're going to provide me caregivers and we're, exchanging money and things like that.
Right. I think if you're just doing a handshake, that opens up the door to problems.
Yeah. So I just wanted people to know that we do formally do an agreement between each other. So it outlines exactly, what your role is, what my role is, and things like that. So
yeah. I think most people, if you're interested in how this works, you could be a home care agency that's, doing 40,000 billable hours a month, or somebody's doing, 1,000 billable hours a month. Wherever you're at, if you don't understand this concept and you want more information, just shoot a message to Kurt in the group, because there's other people that will want to know how this works too. I think that will be the best place to kind of talk about this, is to, instead of you messaging one person at a time, and you could even do a post. I wouldn't mind in the group. But if you have questions, one, comment on this video, make sure you tag Kurt. So that way he's aware that you have questions, and I'm sure, I'm kind of speaking for you, but I'm sure that you're happy to kind of answer some of their questions. And then go ahead and share your website. We'll put it on the screen if they want to go to your website as well to find out more about the direct mail. And then I guess they could also contact you about more information about this hiring method as well.
Yeah. So the website is at morehomecareclients.com. And that site is teaching a strategy to use direct mail, how to be an invited guest versus an annoying pest with discharge planners, social workers, and geriatric care managers. So you can go there. You can be reached. My email's on that site. So if you have a question specific to this idea of, subcontracting out caregivers or being a subcontractor for agencies, I'd be happy to answer any questions there too. But the group would be the best. Jeremy's group here would be the best to do that, because then everybody gets to learn from the question.
Yeah. And I just feel like it would be so helpful for everybody to kind of hear about, how you did this and just kind of your mindset, what you were thinking, how you kind of put it into play. You don't have to share everything, all the intricate details, because it's just too much to share, Yeah. And I know that let's just put it this way. Anything in life that's going to bring benefit to our life, to our business, that's actually truly going to increase, is going to cost something, right? So I know that you have some services that you provide to other home care agencies. You own your own home care agency, the ins and outs. So they can reach out to you for that, to deep dive, so to speak.
Yeah. So Jeremy, I just wanted to mention too, I talk with many home care agency owners, throughout the country. And one thing I find that they don't have, and you mentioned about, your SEO and what you can do. And what I find is that people don't have a plan. Your outcome, you want more clients, but you got to have a plan to get there. And then also you need the support for that plan.
Yeah.
And, so I just wanted to say, if people are considering, doing the internet marketing, for the home care agency, again, a service like yours, Jeremy, the outcome as far as your goal is leads, but you got to have the plan to get there. And then I'm sure, you're providing the support of the plan, because that's what I find that's missing the most with home care agents. So they just don't have a plan.
Right. So, and to speak on that, our team, we actually have a built out plan in our project management system for the first 90 days. So
Perfect.
The first 90 days, we know exactly what needs to happen to get the digital marketing, get their website, get the SEO, get the Google ads off the ground and get it done right. Because I'm sure in your business, in any home care business, really, there's certain things that you need to do. And if you're not hitting those things right, then you got to circle back around and get it done right, because it's not going to work right. It might only work maybe 5% out of 100, right? So that's what we focus on, is making sure it's done right, so we don't have to circle back around. So for example, if you're doing a Wix website, well, you're probably going to have to circle back around and not do a Wix website, because it can only take you so far. So, it's, maybe 5% or 10% out of 100 effectiveness. So that's completely true. So we have a 90-day rollout plan, and I know that you have strategies that's systematized, right? This is what works, and we follow the system every single time. So Thank you for mentioning it. I think that that's also important that, home care agency owners know that, because in many times, we see the shiny object syndrome. Right. And for us, we just follow the plan, right? This is what works. And if you can come on board with us, we'll get your digital marketing, we'll rank you on Google. But Google wants the same thing every time. Their algorithm knows, what they're looking for. So as long as we hit Google's algorithm, we rank every time, right? Mm-hmm. So we just, it's important to have that plan. So thanks for touching on that.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to reassure people that that's what you're looking for when you're on these, video calls or educational webinars is that plan. So, but obviously work with somebody who already has the plan in place. Yeah. What markers to hit,
Absolutely. And then if you're looking for, to rank higher on Google, to get all your digital marketing done right, reach out to us. We're happy to help you. We're also in the group. You can tag me, Jeremy Fuller, and I'm happy to answer questions. But other than that, let's go ahead and wrap it up. And thank you guys for watching. Make sure to tag Kurt if you have questions for him. Make sure that you invite your home care friends to our Facebook group, Home Care Marketing Masters. We want to grow this thing. We're almost at, we're hitting almost 1,000 soon, I'm hoping. That's kind of our goal by the end of this summer, to have 1,000 members. So we're going that direction. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next webinar.